If there is anything that needs to be satirized and remixed, it is Trump talking about massive dumps. And by the way, extra points, if you can sample Trump saying massive dumps and me talking about it in a song, please do it.
Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Congratulations,
Dump,
sir. You
dumps.
just
Dumps. Dump.
dumped big
Mr.
massive
President,
dumps.
sir.
Donald Trump insisted multiple times that it was massive dumps that led him to lose the election, which is just
on another level, on another level.
Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump, dump,
won.
dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump, dump,
won.
dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dump.
You turn the faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once.
Very, very large brain.
Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump,
won.
dump, dumps.
we have a
Dumps.
world, right?
Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps.
China.
what is going on here?
China?
What is going on here? It's just beyond parody. I mean, massive dumps cost them the election. What is going on here? What? All right, welcome everybody. We actually have really big breaking news. I was going to be streaming a little bit later today. We have a Joe Biden event at 5:15 where he's going to try to get Republicans to just do what obviously is best for the country and best for their states, which is pass some kind of infrastructure bill and do the whole Build Back Better thing. That's in 45 minutes. But we now have a situation with a very explosive countdown timer where there is going to be a press conference. This story of, the whole missing white woman syndrome, as it's been kind of called by some, it's all coming to a head in that after the disappearance and ultimately finding the remains of Gabby Petito, her fiance or boyfriend, Brian Laundrie, went missing. Where is he? Was he killed? Did he take his own life? What's going on? The latest is that what are believed to be Brian Laundrie's belongings, Brian Laundrie's laundry, for lack of a better term, were found near human remains. And moments from now, there's going to be a press conference with the FBI where I am imagining they are going to say something. And what that something is could be, we believe these are the remains of Brian Laundrie. And if that's the case, does it appear as though he took his own life, or we just don't know? Okay. And I know some people have been asking why I haven't been talking about this story. Some people are furious that I am covering this today. We're here. That's what it is. We're here right now, and we're standing by for this press conference happening very, very soon. So that's what it is. The latest news, I have a CNN article here. A medical examiner and cadaver dog called to park where investigators found Brian Laundrie's items. Sarasota County medical examiner and cadaver dog called today. Items were found. Statement at 4:30. These were items of interest. Elements of interest were within the items of interest, we would say. And we're going to hear about this. I mean, we don't really need to speculate too much in that this is going to be happening momentarily. It is of significant interest in general, so we're going to listen to that. Then we've got Joe Biden in 45 minutes. He's going to be dropping the hammer on Republicans and saying a number of different things to different people, potentially under a very high energy paradigm. That'll be at 5:15 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll do the Brian Laundrie press conference. Now, I want to announce I have a game to play with you guys as well. I sort of came up with this idea on a whim and then floated it by producer John, and producer John made it even better. I had the idea of, let's see how out of touch I am with fast food prices because as you know, I have not gone to fast food restaurants in 20 years and all these different things. And so I said to John, let's put something together. And then John even made it better by setting the game up for me to guess not only the price of different fast food elements, but also the number of calories. So like the first one, we're not going to play it right now, but the first one would be the Burger King Whopper. What is the price of such an item? And what is the number of calories? So I've got 5 Starbucks, Burger King, etc. We're going to play this a little later and see how out of touch I am. And you'll be able to play along as well. So that's coming up a little bit later. The first one is going to be the Burger King Whopper. And we'll see how out of touch I am. And if I can just, even though I haven't visited any fast food restaurants in decades, infer some of the pricing and caloric components to these items. That'll be after the FBI press conference, okay? And what else? Oh, yesterday's viewer town hall went really, really well. So we're going to start uploading some of the top phone calls from yesterday's town hall are starting to be chopped up. We're going to be mincing them. We're going to be chopping them. We're going to be crushing and pulverizing and all these different things with those the yesterday's stream. And the clips will start to be posted to the Pacman Live YouTube channel. Probably soon, very soon. Okay, so that's happening as well. And I will again put together this offer for folks. Although we tend to do the viewer town halls every couple months, every few months, I will do one next week if we get 100 website members and Twitch subscribers today. Let's put some points up on the board right now, sort of like the Red Sox hopefully will be doing early momentarily. I want to say thanks to Weatherboxer, who says, your wife is up in the air. Yeah, that is, where do I have that one? I think it's here.
I don't even know what I'm doing, sir.
Nope, hold on.
Sir, he's better than I am.
Oh, where is it?
Sir, your wife is up in the air.
There it is. Weatherboxer says your wife is up in the air. Life is Good has subscribed. Aunt Fufu. Beef Stews, a new member. Via Twitch, Flea Girl. Kind AF. Kicking us off with 6 already. And of course, website memberships always preferred at joinpacman.com. And the coupon code felony21 will save you a felonious amount of money. Oh, also thanks to Crash Override and Bijibo for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Thanks to Lime Green Skittles as well. Let me also make a programming announcement. I am going to be participating in, let me see if I can find this. Chess streamer Anna Kramling has very generously invited me to participate in a tournament. Some people call it a tournament. Some people say tournament. There's a squid chess game happening on Sunday where there are going to be a bunch of different Squid Games related chess games. I don't even know what the games are. I just said, sure. We follow each other and she's like, do you want to play in this thing? I said, sure. And as you can see, I am the 28th participant, David P. There's going to be 32 people total. Let's see who I've heard of here. I've heard of Nico, but I don't know who that is. Haven't heard of these folks. I know Nemo. Nemo commented on one of my chess matches previously. I know Levy. Levy and I are in touch via Twitter regularly. Who else here? Anna Rudolph. GM Canty I'm familiar with. And that's it. Okay, so, I mean, I'm almost feeling like I'm way too old for this thing, but I'm going to do it. I think it'll be good for content. It'll be good for community purposes and things like that. So that's going to be Sunday at 7 p.m. Central European time. And that's 1 p.m. here in the East. I don't even understand what the games are, but that's going to be the thing. All right, let's listen to this press conference here.
Very good. Good afternoon, Josh Taylor with the Northport Police Department. Thank you for your continued diligence on this story and thanks for your patience. As you know, the Northport Police Department has worked collaboratively with the FBI throughout this investigation. Special Agent Michael McPherson is going to make a prepared statement. There's not going to be any questions today, but hopefully it answers some of them. Thank you.
Standing very strongly.
Good afternoon. My name's Michael McPherson. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI Tampa Division. As you're aware, the FBI and the Northport Police Department and our state and local law enforcement partners have been searching the area of the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. Earlier today, investigators found what appears to be human remains, along with personal items such as a backpack and notebook belonging to Brian Laundrie. These items were found in an area that up until recently have been underwater. Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area. It's likely the team will be on scene for several days. I know you have a lot of questions, but we don't have all the answers yet. We are working diligently to get those answers for you. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of the Northport Police Department, along with our partners from the state and local agencies. Complex investigations such as this cannot be accomplished by one agency alone, but there are just too many agencies to name them all here today. Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity for the safety of the public and to protect the integrity of our work. We have no additional comment related to today's activities. Our FBI Denver office is the lead investigative agency, and all future inquiries should be directed to them. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public and continue to ask for your assistance in bringing this investigation to close. Thank you.
Was the backpack found near the body? Justice for Gabby! Justice for Gabby!
Wow.
Justice for Gabby!
What an underwhelming presentation.
Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice for Gabby!
Breaking news.
Whoa. Okay, so what did we learn? Elements believed to belong to Brian Laundrie were found. There were also human remains found that they are not saying whether they know if the human remains belong to Brian Laundrie. That is where we are at this point in time. And we really learned very, very little from this press conference. So we're going to keep it here as there's potentially more expected statements from what I'm reading. We're also going to be standing by for Joe Biden in about 39 minutes, and that's going to be on the White House. Let's see, the White House one as well. We're going to want to make sure to have that. Here it is. Okay, good. So we've got multiple streams ready to go, and we're going to keep an eye right here. A very, very brief statement, and partial remains. Yes, as people are pointing out, partial remains is interesting because it could mean any number of different things. That these were partial remains and belongings dropped there by some third party, or things could have been moved around by animals. We just don't know. It's all completely speculative at this point in time. Not much of a press conference, really a 45-second statement from a guy who, quite frankly, gave very little information. Very, very little information. Let's take a look at some super chats here. Logan had a tough day at school today. Many COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers making his blood boil. Happy to be watching your stream. Keep it up. Thanks, Logan. Great to have you here. Jimmy from Philly says plaid, 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 and more plaid. I'm sure you're referring to the Tesla Model S plaid, right? That must be what Jimmy is referring to. Karen says, you were hot, David. Fire, fire, fire. Googly eyes. Oh, my goodness. Thank you, Karen. Pepe Xanadu says fast food prices vary by state. Which state are you going to use? I have no idea. I don't know. And Chakaseki says, could you estimate the amount of calories embodied in Trump's famous White House fast food photo? Which picture is that? Let's see. Trump White House fast food. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty tough. This is the Trump White House fast food photo. Yeah. That's I can't do math. My calculator doesn't have enough digits for that. Yeah, so I don't know about that. But there's more drama.
Folks here are showing pictures and sounds like they are shouting at police. Let's see if we can listen. There's no audio on this feed.
I
Okay,
saw
I've
our
just confirmed it.
photographer from Channel 8 take the mic, so there might not be a mic at all.
And it might be audio that, again, we don't know what kind of language is being used here, but
Right.
you can see that they're not shouting at police as much as they are shouting at photographers.
Well, now it's very popular these days just to shout. People just shout. If you look at these school board meetings, if you look at even just like a regular trip to Trader Joe's, it's a lot of shouting, endless shouting. It's very in right now to just scream at the top of your lungs and sometimes humiliate yourself. Unfortunately, there's a lot of it. Okay, so we're standing by for Joe Biden and potentially more here on this Brian Laundrie situation. Let me go to a couple of other things I wanted to do. Oh, thanks to Napa Skip Dog, Chronic Masticator, and Lime Green Skittles for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, putting us at 12. We do have on the table another hour plus 75-ish, 80-minute live viewer town hall early next week, basically 5 days from now. If we get to 100 website members and Twitch subscribers today, we will schedule, I'll do it right now. I'll pull up the schedule and do it right now, another live viewer town hall. So today's a great day to sign up on my website. And in fact, I want to say thanks to Mar Morgan. Mar Morgan just signed up at joinpacman.com, not using a coupon code, mind you. The coupon code is available. It's not mandatory. Not mandatory. Important thing to mention. Okay, let's go next to, let's see. Oh, this is pretty good. Someone made a deep fake of me as the famous Argentinian soccer player, Diego Maradona. This is really, really good. Me being Argentinian, of course, it's really hitting all the right notes. Let's take a quick look at it.
Yo quiero ser simplemente Maradona.
Look at that. Very, very, those were crazy days. Those were really crazy days when I did the hand of God and everything. It was wild. Okay, so we've got that. You guys want to see a toe curling video? So I don't even fully understand this story because it's so bizarre. You guys know QAnon, of course. So there is an assertion that the mastermind of QAnon is this guy named Joe Watkins. And just the picture already scares children. I guess that he's now running for, let me see, what is he running for? He's running in Arizona, and he did let's actually pull up the video. This really is a toe curling video. He announced his run. Hold on, where's the clip? Here it is. He announced he's running for something and it is so creepy, so creepy. You can tell that he's reading a script. And the delivery suggests absolutely no ability to feel emotion whatsoever. It's just a disgusting video. And supposedly, some people believe this is the QAnon mastermind. Let's take a look at this.
This is Ron Watkins, here again outside AG Brnovich's office. I want to congratulate our AG for proceeding on election fraud cases.
Why is this so creepy? Seriously, what about it is it that this is so creepy?
I also want to emphasize that we must stay vigilant and keep up the pressure, both here in Arizona and throughout the country, to indict any and all criminals who have facilitated election fraud. President Trump had his election stolen, not just in Arizona, but in other states too. We must now take this fight to Washington, D.C. and vote out all the dirty Democrats who have stolen our republic. We must fix elections for from inside the
Like, imagine if the entire Q thing is really just this guy. It's sort of underwhelming. It's like, is it, correct me if I'm wrong, would it be sort of like Wizard of Oz, where at the end you find out, I don't even remember, like, you know, the whole thing, it's like there's this little, is that maybe an analogy? Yeah, and then it's like, this QAnon all came from this guy? That's what you're telling me?
Machine. I've decided to expose the dirtiest Democrat in the D.C. swamp.
Oh.
And some of you here may already know him as Congressman Tom O'Halloran, representing Maricopa County and District 1.
Right.
What's publicly known about Tom O'Hooligan?
Really charismatic guy, huh? I mean, just inspires really a leader, born leader.
That he is not fit to represent the people of Arizona. And from what I've already discovered and will expose, Tom is not fit to represent anyone anywhere. After attending a recent sermon by Pastor Jeff Durbin of Apologia Church, I've come to realize that following God's word is not always the easiest route. But if we don't follow our beliefs and the founding principles of our nation, it will crumble. This must stop now. Therefore, I've decided to double down with God as my compass.
Whoa, now it's getting very serious.
To take this fight to the swamp of Washington, D.C. I am here to formally announce my run for Congress in Arizona District Number 1. Our fight has only just begun, and I can't do it alone. I will need your support. Together, we will beat Tom Hooligan, and under God's authority, we will take back Congress, flip the Senate, and fix the presidency. Thank you.
Now, as toe-curlingly cringeworthy as that is, I think any of these people could win. I mean, voters in Arizona's been moving in the right direction, but you look at some of these districts, it's not obvious to me that he can't win. I mean, it's hard to imagine a less charismatic candidate for anything. It's hard to imagine anybody I would more be eager to keep away from children, but anybody could win. I mean, look, Trump won. So who the hell knows? It's all really, really crazy. So that's that. We'll take care of that. And we did this. Oh, speaking of cringe, this is Joni Ernst today, I guess, talking about delayed deliveries on the floor of the House. And it's just as depressing that she's a senator. I mean, look at this.
Staffed. And folks, this crisis isn't ending anytime soon. The upcoming holiday season is already being referred to as Biden's Blue Christmas. The White House is even warning.
Now, hold on a second. Is it Pete Buttigieg's fault that there's delayed packages because he's on paternity leave? Or is it Joe Biden's fault? I'm confused now.
There will be items people can't get for Christmas. So let's just hope, for the sake of the kids who have been good all year, that Biden's broken supply chain problems don't extend all the way to the North Pole.
Wow, what a powerful indictment. Really just pointing out all of the ways in which the Biden administration has gone wrong. What a bizarre person. Okay, we're keeping an eye and waiting for Joe Biden. He'll be speaking in a little bit, and also keeping an eye as to whether there will be more news about the potential, about Brian Laundrie's items that were found, as well as the partial human remains that were found there as well. Let's look at a few super chats. Renholder says, you need to watch Q Into the Storm on HBO for more info on Ron Watkins and his father. Interesting. Christian says, actually surprised this wasn't a segment on missing white woman syndrome. Right. Larry says, hello, David. Hope you've been well. Was wondering if you've seen Ben Gleib's debate with Charlie Kirk or his video from the anti-vax restaurant in L.A. No, let's look up the anti-vax restaurant in L.A. I saw a little bit of the debate with Charlie Kirk. Ben Gleib restaurant. Let's check that out. Full video. Comedian demasked and thrown out of anti-vax restaurant. Oh, let's check this out. Yeah, there's an anti-vax restaurant in L.A. Check this out. By the way, how do you prove you're not vaccinated?
How's business tonight? Busy, huh?
Yeah, it just started slowing down.
Has it been like next level busy since you guys took your stand?
So we had 4 to 5 hour lines, like until everything reopened up. But then since we got back on the news and everything like that, we've been having like hour, 2 hour waits, stuff like that. Just like just people.
Imagine waiting 2 hours to eat without a mask with unvaccinated people.
Wow. It's nice to have a place that kind of puts their foot down for freedom and says, we don't care about this deadly virus. We're going to put our foot down and just do it our way. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
It's all about freedom, right?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Have you guys had any backlash from people coming in?
Oh, you're talking about like the people that don't support us coming here? No, they just call over the phone. They never really show up.
Cowards.
Yeah, exactly. All we really get coming to the restaurant is supporters, and you get the cowards on the phone.
How are you guys enforcing the non-vaccinated? Like, how do you make sure? You say you have to prove you're not vaccinated. You just take people's word on it, though, right?
It's like, signs that figure it out for yourself type of deal. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's like he doesn't totally seem to even understand the question, which is like, how do you prove a negative? Listen, I'm not vaccinated. Look, I don't have any vaccine card. Well, could the vaccine card maybe be at home? No. That's proof I'm not vaccinated.
Have you heard about the new Delta variant, though? This one, I'm starting to actually come around and believe it's very contagious. We need to maybe wear masks and get vaccinated and stuff.
Yeah, the vaccination is causing it.
You think it's causing them?
Yes.
You have a science background, right?
Medical.
What do you do?
I do all sorts of things in the medical field. I was everything from a secretary to tech in the ER.
She's involved in different elements of medical.
That's cool. It's the same as like CDC work, really. It's like it's equal ability to, kind of one side knows what statistics.
This guy's really good.
Feeling about it, and both need to be respected. A lot of people are like, oh, my family members. It's like, you got others. Don't worry about it.
Well, and 100% of the elderly people that I know would have rather died 6 months earlier of COVID because their family came and saw them than dying alone for 6 months in a room not being taken care of.
Right. All these old folks that are now alive are sitting around saying, I wish I had been dead for 6 months. Tons of people. They're just everywhere. Everybody's saying, I'm mad I survived.
That's a big argument that you don't hear a lot. That you don't hear a lot, but it's true. It's like some people would rather die of it, so why deprive them of that?
Right.
What's that?
I love it how they say the science.
Right.
I'm going to choose geology if I'm going to choose a science. I'm not the science.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
If science was one thing, why would there be so many fields within it?
Oh, the greatest fallacy is the science is settled. That isn't how science works.
Right.
You're always questioning your hypothesis.
Right. Science evolves.
Yes, but in order to change it, you need something compelling and factual to make us change what the accepted current understanding is. They don't care.
You have to adjust based on the facts. And
they got everybody so frightened.
Yeah.
Right.
That they're
By the way, it doesn't even really look that busy.
grasping at anything.
Frightened that they might die of the
something.
of the deadly virus or whatever that's killing a million people. Have you gone anti-vax with your kid the whole time, or is this new this time?
Yeah, we've been anti-vax the whole time. He's never had a vaccination in his life.
Wow.
Poor kid.
We've never had a problem with the doctors because they asked us, is he immunized? And we're like, yeah, his immunization's up today. We say,
So they lie.
I say he's fully immunized because he is. He's not
You don't say
vaccinated,
vaccinated, you say immunized. That's
fully
clever.
immunized.
Have you guys heard about these people that are getting vaccinated and not telling their friends that they got vaccinated because they're embarrassed?
Oh, I'm sure. I don't know any personally, but I'm sure.
I'm one of them.
Oh, well.
I got vaccinated, and I don't want anybody to know because I'm embarrassed. Because a lot of my friends and they're right, but they're anti-science and not buying into the facts. And I'm like, I got the vaccine. I don't even want to talk about it. Do you look down upon me because I got the vaccine?
No. Are you an asshole?
I hope not. Okay.
That's the only reason I went down.
I only did it because I'm trying to not die from the virus. Thank you so much, man. Thank you very much. Get out of here. What do you mean?
Get out of here. Take that off.
Well, I just want to make sure that I'm not exposed to anything.
Hey, get out of here. Guys, you guys are all guns. You don't even have to pay. Get out of here. Take these off.
You can't pull the mask off.
Get out of here.
You didn't take my mask off my face?
Is that assault of some kind?
Get out of here. Go. We told you to leave.
I've been vaccinated. I've been vaccinated.
Who cares? I don't care. Hey, what do you turn around and start walking?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Like, is that any different than pulling a watch off of someone? Legally speaking?
Anybody at risk. I'll never do that again.
Never come back here again.
I'll never do it again. I don't want. I just wanted to protect everyone. I just wanted to protect everyone. I just wanted to protect. I'm sorry. I protected everyone. Next time I'll get COVID and I'll cough on people. It's fine. I'm happy to do it. That's fine. That's fine. Look, my bad. I just wanted to help out and not breathe on everybody. But like, to each their own, of course. You want to breathe on people with COVID stuff? That's fine. What is? You're a Nazi ground. Beat it. Because I don't want to infect people? No, because you're a moron. Get out of here, buddy. What do you mean?
You can never tell with these people whether being a Nazi brown shirt is good or bad.
Hey, turn around and leave.
Well, not allowed to.
Don't talk to our customers.
Get it. You guys are very into making
They're for free speech, but they're saying you're not allowed to speak to our customers.
sure people have a good chance to get sick. I get that. I get it. Each their own. That's what America's about. Infecting fellow citizens because you don't want to wear a piece of cloth. I get that. I get it. It makes sense to me. Not follow the science, but just follow being a baby about a mask.
Nobody cares about what you're saying, man. Get out of here.
Look
Get
how
off the
riled up
property.
you are. You're very riled up. Just saying.
Yeah, they're all for letting people do whatever they want, unless what they want to do is get vaccinated, mention it, wear a mask or whatever. Man, that's really good. That's really, really good. I like that. That's excellent. Very nice work. I want to say thanks to Green Man, now subscribed on Twitch for 20 months in a row. Also, thanks to Vaderette, Jen here, Lemonies, Noodle Mixing Sound, GeoVenture, and K Shreds. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 13 plus 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. 0. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. That puts us at 20. And over on the website, also want to say thanks to Mary Alexander, who has just signed up at joinpacman.com, number 21. Folks, today's a great day to grab a membership on our website. The number one way to support the work that we do, joinpacman.com. This coupon code felony21. Don't tell your attorney general. It is criminally huge, the discount. Criminally huge. Bigger than Trump's ego. But it's best not to speak it out loud. Just type it in and not worry too much about it. Okay, other super chats here coming in. The fight on Christmas begins early with poster board. Underwhelmed. Right. It's pronounced Glebe. Okay, Ben Glebe. Ben Glebe, I apologize. David, sir, price of goods and gas risen a bit in rural Michigan. Everyone I've spoken with blames Biden. More Trump flags popping up than before the election. What are your thoughts? It's actually, it's happening nationally. You know, supply chain issues under Trump, now under Biden. Now it's Biden's fault. It wasn't Trump's fault. Now it's Pete Buttigieg's fault. It wasn't Elaine Chao's fault. They're hypocrites. Gas prices are up. They were up at one point under Trump. Then it wasn't Trump's fault. Now it's Biden's fault. It's, it is what it is. Have you seen Jordan Klepper's latest video talking to Trump supporters at the Iowa rally? Yeah, let's do that a little bit later. Jordan Klepper, Iowa rally. We'll pull that up in a bit. I've got a few other things to go through first, so we'll get back to that. From the standpoint of crimes, pulling a mask off someone sounds like assault. It does to me, too. Elon Musk signed up for the Squid Chess tournament. Great. So I'll be playing again. Yeah, if you missed that, I'm going to be playing in a Squid Chess tournament organized by chess streamer Anna Kramling on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I don't even know what the games are. She said the games will be revealed on the day of. So hopefully they're not too complicated. But that'll be the rare weekend stream as we stand by here for Joe Biden. Okay. Very good. Let's get over to, should I do voicemails now or do a couple of other things? A couple of other things going. Yeah, let's go to this video next. This has been an ongoing thing. Congressman Jim Jordan, we just can't seem to get him to answer how many times he spoke to Trump on the day of the Trump riots. We are inferring that the reason he doesn't want to clearly answer that question is because it would lead to more questions about what he knew and when and his motivations and Trump's motivations, etc. So at one point he said, I spoke to Trump, I think on that day, and it might have been before the riot, but it might have been after. We then got him to admit that another reporter got him to admit that it was actually twice. So here, Congressman Jim McGovern, who I bumped into not long ago at a cafe, actually, when I was out in Western Massachusetts, he is asking exactly how many times he spoke to Trump on January 6th. And you just can't get an answer from Jim Jordan.
You were asked by Brett Baer on Fox News if you talked to the former president on January 6th. And you didn't give a clear answer. You said, and I quote, I've talked to the president so many, I can't remember all the days I've talked to him, but I've certainly talked to the president, end quote. The next day, on July 28th, you confirmed to Spectrum News that you spoke with the former president on January 6th. When asked by a Spectrum News reporter, Taylor Popolars, whether you spoke to the president before, during, or after the Capitol was attacked, you said, and I quote, I spoke with him that day, after, I think after. I don't know if I spoke with him in the morning or not. I just don't know. I have to get back to you.
It was crazy. I don't know when I spoke to him, nor do I have any way of looking at phone records.
I don't know when those conversations happened, end quote. So my question is, you've had 84 days since that interview to go back and check the records. So when did you speak with the former president on January 6th? Did you talk to the former president before?
Man, Jim Jordan will not stop trying to interrupt.
Or after the attack on the Capitol?
Of course I've talked to the president. All three? Of course I've talked to the president. I've been clear about that. I talk to him all the time. This is not about me, Mr. Chairman.
You see how he's still not answering? He's still not answering the question.
I know you want to make it about me. You want to make it about individuals, other individuals. But this is about the lack of a proper security presence that day. That's what this committee, if this committee is going to do something that's worthwhile, that's what they should be investigating. Of course I talked to the president. I talked to him that day. I've been clear about that.
Yeah, you've not been clear in terms of how many times and when.
I don't recall the number of times, but it's not about me. I know you want to make it about that, but this is about how about this? Why wasn't the National Guard here that day, Mr. Chairman?
Well, part of that is because of Trump, actually. So you see how dishonest this guy is. It's truly just disgusting. He just will not answer. He will not answer that question. He's had 84 days. I'm sure he knows the answer at this point. It's like, how could he possibly not know the answer? He's been asked so many times. But just a vile and disgusting guy. Thanks to Real Time Fan as well as Crowbars Forever for the Twitch Prime subscriptions, numbers 22 and 23 today. If and when we get to 100 total across Twitch and our website, we'll schedule another live viewer town hall for next week and just take calls, massive dumps of call after call after call. Let's listen in a little bit here to WFLA's coverage to see if it looks like there will be more updates about the Brian Laundrie stuff. We are still standing by for Joe Biden, scheduled to speak in under 15 minutes. So that's coming up as well. A lot happening today.
He's no longer with us. So that's another question. Can he go from person of interest to suspect if he's dead? Even if they find more evidence? What would be the use of that other than, I don't know. I don't know what would be the use of that. A lot of questions. News conference was a surprise.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I was surprised that the notebook now is going to be the subject of threads online, comments. The amount of attention that this notebook is going to receive. This is going to be the most famous notebook in the world, or the most infamous notebook in the world. Everyone's going to want to.
That I don't know about. That may be a little bit histrionic.
And we had a commenter here, and the honest part, I was surprised that they even gave us that. No one would have blinked an eye if they had just said We found a backpack.
Interesting. Really good point. Very good
we
point.
just
You're
found
right.
a backpack,
This
and then
is
we
the-
found remains, and that was the contents of the press conference itself, was just those two announcements. But the notebook is an add-on now that is, I already see it. It's happening in real time. Interactively here, I'm watching it happen on all these platforms. People are now asking, what is in the notebook? It's going to be a hashtag in no time.
Presumably writing would be my guess. Okay, so we're going to keep it here and see what else crops up as far as that goes. Okay, do you guys want to do the fast food, David Pakman, fast food out of touch game? Or do you want to listen to some voicemails? We'll do both as we wait for Joe Biden. But is there a preference as to which we do first, I guess is what I'm saying to you fine folks. Fast food game or voicemails? Seems mostly everybody wants the fast food game. All right. Or my confession. Yeah, either way. We could go either way. Thanks to E King for subscribing via Twitch Prime. I appreciate that. Number 24 today. Thank you very much. Also, a huge thank you to Jordy Belair for signing up on my website with the coupon code Felony21. Jordy, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm not going to even mention how deep that discount is with the code Felony21. I don't want to get you in trouble, but I do appreciate you signing up. Jordy Belair at joinpacman.com is new member number 25 today. You can join Jordy yourself. Yeah, big trouble. Big trouble. All right, let's do the fast food game, okay, as we stand by for Joe Biden. Here's the way this game is going to work. I am going to be presented with 5 different fast food elements, and I am going to have to guess, what is the cost of such an item? Now, some people said in what state. I don't know. I couldn't be involved in the planning of this, because then I would know the answers, right? So I have I think maybe it's an average or whatever. I don't know if there's an index price. So what is the price of this item stand alone? The sale price, not the cost to produce. The sale price of the item. And what is the number of calories? Calories, okay? So the first is the Burger King Whopper. Let's do calories first. My guess is we're probably talking about, let's think it through basically, okay? As described here. The majority of the calories, now, is there cheese on a Whopper by default? Is there cheese on a Whopper by default? Does anybody know that? I'm not seeing cheese here in this picture. It doesn't look like there is. There's no cheese by default. We're going to assume it's no cheese. Okay, my guess is the bun is about 120 calories. There's probably some butter / oil, maybe good for another. A lot of times the oil is a lot of the calories. Let's say 80. Let's say between the bun and the oil, we're at 200 calories. Whatever mayo-like sauce is on there, you're probably talking another 70, 80 calories there. So now we're at like 280. The patty, meat is surprisingly low in calories, but let's say it's another 100, so we're at like 380, and then miscellaneous other things, and then just like I should probably add more because I'm probably underestimating. Let's assume, I'm going to say that this sandwich is 550 calories, and that it costs, I'm going to say $4.99. $4.99, 550 calories. Let's take a look. $4.19, 660. Okay, so I came in high. I came in 80 cents high on price, and I came in 110 calories low. I'm not totally out of touch, though. I'm not totally out of touch. I mean, I'm in the ballpark, given I haven't been to a fast food restaurant in 20 years. Not bad. Not bad. All right, let's go to the next one. This is Chick-fil-A medium waffle fries. Medium waffle fries. Oof. Okay. So basically you've got really 3 elements here, right? You've got potato, oil, and salt. Salt has almost no calories, right? Medium waffle fry. Now, one of the things I know is that in these fast food meals, the calories from potatoes are cheap. So oftentimes those are bolstered. If you want to, you have these 900 calorie fast food meals. The potatoes are cheap calories. So not only the potatoes, but the oil are a big part of that. I'm going to guess that a medium waffle fry, let me think about that. Could it be $3? Maybe $3. Let's say $2.99 on the price. And let's say 200 and I almost want to say that this is 300 cents and 300 calories. Let's take a look. Oh my God. 165, way high on price. And I was also low on calories. So I was 120 calories under. But I was $1.35 over on price. That's interesting. Huh. Well, there's a reason that potatoes are a profit center for fast food. Potatoes are cheap calories. All right, let's go next. Oh, boy. Regular size McDonald's Oreo Mcflurry. Oh, hold on. Let me just make sure we're not missing Joe Biden. Okay, no, we're good. We're good for now. Okay. Let's continue. McDonald's Oreo McFlurry. This has got to be. It's got to be a lot of. I guess the first question is this more or fewer calories than the Whopper? It's a lot of heavy cream and sugar. The Whopper was $6.60. I'm going to say it's less. I'm going to say this is 500 calories. And I'm going to say it's $4.50. Oh, okay. Not bad. So it's $2.39. I guessed $4.50. 500 calories. So I was over on price. This is actually far cheaper and a little bit over on calories. But I'm very much in the ballpark there. Very much in the ballpark. All right. I don't eat any of this stuff. I know people are saying I shouldn't. I don't eat any of this stuff. I haven't been to a fast food in a long time. Okay, now we're getting into something interesting. People talk about getting coffee. Oh, but it's so many calories, it's unhealthy. Coffee is very low in calories. Espresso is like no calories. It's basically water. Okay. What is a shot of espresso? Is it like 15 calories or something like that? Calories in shot of espresso. 3. Apparently there's 3 calories in a shot of espresso. Okay. Calories in it's actually 4 ounces of milk at 1%. No, but let's imagine that it's whole milk. Whole milk, 4 ounces, 68 calories. Wow. So like a cappuccino is not a lot of calories. So, but the truth is these are not really coffee drinks. These have some coffee, but they have sugars. They have whipped cream. Sometimes they have syrups. They have all of these different things. And it is crazy. It's a dessert based on coffee. Exactly. So for something like this, is the grande big or is that medium? Does anybody know? Guys, I'm not looking up the calories in this. I'm just telling people when we talk about coffee, this is not what we're talking about. Grande's a medium. Pumpkin spice latte. I wouldn't be surprised if this was 500 calories. Let's say 500 calories and $6. 500 calories and $6. No, okay, all right, a little bit over. So that's $4.95 and 390 calories. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts. I would not order that. Don't get any of this stuff. All right, and then let's go to the last one, a Taco Bell cheesy gordita crunch. My instinct is that this is pretty cheap because I remember Taco Bell being cheap. How much could this cost? One Taco Bell cheesy gordita crunch. Could this be $3? Could this be a $3 item? Maybe. Let's go with $3, and for calories, I'm going to say $3.75. $3, $3.75. $3.99, 500 calories. Okay. Again, I'm in the ballpark. I'm in the ballpark. I'm not totally out of touch. So that's the game, guys. That's the fast food game. I appreciate everybody playing along with me. I think it was very, very well put together by producer John. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it again at some point in the future. But a very, very good game. And even though I've been out of the fast food game for 20 years, it's not like I'm Bill Gates where I'm like, could a banana really be that much more than $10? I'm not in that position. All right. Let me say thank you to a few other people. Texas Bear Claw has just subscribed via Twitch. Also, Kismar has gifted 5 subs. That's a total of 6, putting us at 31 for the day. 31. And if we get to 100, we will schedule another live viewer town hall for some time during the next week. And do I have anyone to thank over on the website? No, it's slow going over on the website today. Let's do this extra incentive, all right? For today only, website memberships count double. They count double in our quest to get to 100, and the code works. Which is I think that's my lawyer at the door and accountant saying don't do it. We're doing it, though. We're doing it. All right, as we stand by here for Joe Biden and continue to keep an eye on the Brian Laundrie situation, Larry says, thanks so much for watching and showing the video and promoting a great comedian. You have to watch the entire Charlie Kirk debate. It's amazing. Yeah, I will check it out. I've seen a few clips. Biden said no president should hold office after seeing 200,000 deaths from COVID. I'm very worried this will be a talking point in the future. What are your thoughts? It may be. Trump has the Republican nomination in the bag if he wants to run again in 24. I'm terrified about the prospect of another 4 years of him. How will we cope? Let's take it a step at a time. Let's see what happens in the midterms first. And then we can look at 2024. Also, let's not assume that his health is going to be great in 2024. It remains to be seen. There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions here. Okay, standing by for Joe Biden. Oh, okay. Joe Biden's about to speak, so we're going to stand by for that. Let's listen to a couple of voicemails while we wait. As we stand by for Joe Biden, just to get through a couple of these. All of the usual suspects are calling in fervently.
So, Chris Christie is going to bring people out, mask, open up the economy and stuff like that, but take preventative measures. So it'll be
Hasn't Chris Christie not been governor for years? Next caller.
And well, we're talking about Colorado, and the spirits will call. I don't want to say God, okay, because everybody has God as a single entity. So
right.
Hi. So I found something else that looked like kind of like a suspicious sign that government was involved, or specifically more Trump was involved in the 9/11 attacks.
Okay.
So let's go through some facts here. I was electrocuted June 3rd, 2002 at age 26 for about 90 seconds to a minute and a half, about 12 feet up on a roof hatch, pretty much in the position of the crucifixion on the cross.
Exactly.
Yeah, hey, David, it's Eric again. I'm willing to share all this information with you. Like I said, it's in the stats and the data. Hospitals were getting paid to put COVID down as the cause of death.
Nope, already debunked. Sorry.
So I was doing more background research on Shapiro because I was trying to understand what he was meaning by this one comment that he made.
Very important research.
All right, I guess we're having a little negotiation here over the phone, David. I'm sorry to involve you in this shit, but so far I see Trump's an alien, and he thinks that he wants to stay here, and I'm telling him he can't.
Right. He's got to go back to his home planet. Very well said.
So people need to explain having a baby is if you have a baby with somebody in okay, trying to explain this. So you guys need to learn CPR.
Right. We're going to learn it very soon. All right. Now we've got some maybe, quote, normal voicemails to listen to.
Hi, David. I'm calling from Missouri, and I just want to let you know that I love the way you explain things. You explain it to where I can understand it, because I know politics gets so I don't even know the word to describe it. But anyway, I really enjoy watching your show.
Thank you.
Subscribe to you.
That's a nice voicemail. I like it.
Horseshit. I routinely watch you on YouTube. The last time I dialed up one of your videos, I was offered 2 mandatory ads. I killed that video. I won't watch it when you mandate that I watch your advertisements.
Okay. Thank you very much for letting me know.
Hi, David. I was watching your show a couple days ago, and I saw you went over the kind of conspiracy theory that Corminati in Europe is actually the approved COVID vaccine, and that the Pfizer vaccine being distributed in the U.S. did not receive FDA approval. I overheard my coworker discussing this, and someone else corrected him and said essentially what you spelled out on the show, that the Corminati vaccine is chemically identical to the Pfizer vaccine in the U.S.
Right.
And then he said something like that the FDA normally, when there's drugs that serve the same purpose for treating the same disease, and some are on emergency use.
Yeah, well, now we get into some more kind of, into the weeds. But yes, that I'm glad. I'm very, very glad that was cleared up.
So I'm having a lot of problems over here. It seems like they're doing weird stuff. The lawyers are not really explaining things to people.
The lawyers must explain, yes.
Mr. David Packman, I just seen a little bit of the Alex Jones nut doing a little bit on ivermectin, and I think he's a cracky, crazy guy, but he didn't. The pill was in the other hand, not the water hand.
I know. He only pretended to take the ivermectin. That's true. We did cover that, and that's absolutely accurate. I want to say thank you to Laura Tizensick, who just signed up on my website, and as promised, website memberships count double today. So instead of just putting us at 32, that puts us at 33. That is really something, folks. Let's listen to a few more of these voicemails as we stand by here for Joe Biden.
Hey, David, it's Eric from Mass. You should check out the new documentary, COVID Land.
Right.
All I can say is, are you going to believe what you're told, or are you going to believe your lion eyes? I mean, this lays it out perfectly. This is exactly what I was trying to tell you. Checkmate.
Checkmate. That is yes, exactly. All right, a couple more.
I found some of your family online from Ukraine who's also Jewish. Moved here to America when he was 5. We could totally be like family for sure now. Totally.
I might be related to Whitney. Go figure. That's interesting.
Hey, David, it's Eric from Mass. Man, you're in a free fall nosedive.
Of course, that's continuing to go on. Let's see what else we've got here.
Hey, David. In 2024, if we kind of don't look at who wins on the Democratic side, if the Republicans run Trump again and he loses to somebody, what do you see happening? Are conservatives going to kind of go with Trump light with a Ron DeSantis, or are they going to totally swing back and look more for like a Mitt Romney or John McCain?
I think it's too early to say. I think if Republicans get crushed in 22, they'll more proactively go for something different than Trump. I think if they do well in 22, it's totally plausible that Trump gets right in there. I think it's completely plausible.
Hey, David, it's your Kansas clodhopper again. You know the rest of the tale. Anyway, I've heard a couple of new things recently. One of them where, crony capitalism has turned into surveillance capitalism. And the root of so many of these things comes down to something called cognitive dissonance.
Mm.
It's, to me, just the basis of what results from an uneducated population that can go around with whatever, and
I am not understanding the connection that's being made there. It may be my fault.
Hi, David. My name's Darren. I'm from California. I've called a few times now. I just wanted to ask, because I'm watching your segment about Tucker going full conspiracy in an outrageous rant about this fake office room from the White House that they've built across the street in a studio setting.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me. And a lot of the right seems to talk about how bad it is that Joe Biden has to use a teleprompter. Oh my goodness, he's using a teleprompter, when at the same time they are using a teleprompter. A lot of their associates and coworkers use teleprompters.
They deliver those segments off of a teleprompter.
Not to mention that I don't think it's really a bad thing that someone like the president uses a teleprompter when they're trying to get through to the public with a lot of information on a daily basis. Why do you think this teleprompter talk, besides Joe Biden being senile?
Yeah, no, they said it about Obama also. And what's funny is Trump would regularly use a teleprompter, and even when he didn't, he would just have his speech printed out. Like, is it really different if it's on paper than if you're reading it off of? It's the same speech. You're still reading your speech. It's a strange criticism for sure.
Hello, David. My name is Tim. I live in Washington, and I just watched your YouTube presentation about the truth about the debt ceiling, and I enjoyed your conversation. But it struck me that we seem to always worry about how much we're spending, and we don't talk about that in conjunction with how much we have decided to cut our income through tax cuts. I know we talk a lot about what the right wants to do with cutting taxes, and that we cut corporate taxes, and we've reduced our income by a lot. So balancing the budget is really critical when it comes to balancing income against what we spend.
Yeah, this entire paradigm is sort of antiquated in the sense that just balancing the budget is not virtuous in and of itself. And a national economy is not the same as like a household economy. And we've got to be thinking about these things just a little bit differently.
Well, that doesn't work.
Whoa, what was that? That was weird. All right, couple more.
Hello, David Packman. I am Hunter Williams calling in from Minnesota. That cases are down in most of the states. It's up for 5. I was just wondering, when do you think we will get back to normal? If we can keep the vaccines at a high rate, and if we can keep the cases down at a low marginal number. Thank you.
Depends what you mean by normal, Hunter. There's every indication that COVID's going to be endemic, and I don't even know what normal means at this point. We do have to vaccinate more people. We have to see cases get lower. Hopefully, as Vincent Racaniello said is most likely, the virus will also weaken over time. It's going to be a new normal. It's going to be a new normal is, I think, the way that I would say it.
What is it about Ivanka that, seems so scary? Because I'm, watching the news, or I watched the news, the entire time the Trump administration was, and, people were saying, she's, a princess and, all this kind of stuff.
Yep. No, that's all really crazy stuff.
Yeah, David, this is Alan calling from Texas, and my question is, why are the Republicans and conservatives all so gullible that they are falling for nothing but lies? Have they been conditioned to fall for lies all these years? Or I'm just trying to figure this out. There has to be a logical explanation why so many people are following, and
that's a complicated text, so to speak. Hey, welcome to everybody coming over from watching Jeff Waldorf. Welcome, everybody. Great to have you here over on Twitch. We're just standing by here for Joe Biden. That's a very complicated topic on which I have a number of clips, but there are some important differences with Republicans that explain, there are cultural differences and other differences that explain why they fall for a lot of this crap. People asking whether I'm going to be getting my Moderna booster. We actually talked about this on the bonus show today. I don't know. Let's look at, there was just news. Let's see if Joe Biden's speaking, we'll look at it after. Let's see what's going on. I guess we're still standing by for Joe. So let's see. The FDA authorizes Moderna and J&J COVID boosters. Okay. Unanimous vote. FDA also authorized boosters that differ from your original vaccine type. That's fine. Opens the gate for boosters to be used more widely. Available data suggests waning immunity in some populations who are fully vaccinated. Mix and match approach. Mixed vaccine combination. People can get whichever shot. Moderna Whoa. All right, stand by.
Please welcome the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
These aren't people. These are animals.
Cawley.
Oh my God. All right.
Sefa Hyde.
Honor to be with all of you here today. My name is Shane Cawley, and I'm a fourth-generation union ironworker. I was born and raised right here in Scranton. Not Greenridge, but West Side. I'm a proud member of Ironworkers Local 404, and I've worked on many projects all over the Northeast during my 15 years in the trade. I'm a married man and the proud father of two daughters, ages 14 and 2, and a 4-year-old son. I'm invested in my community, and I serve as the township auditor in Ransom Township, and I'm a proud member of the St. Patrick's Parade Day Association of Lackawanna County. President Biden's Build Back Better agenda is important for working families just like mine, in Pennsylvania and across the country. We work hard for every dollar that we earn, but some days it feels like the odds are stacked against us. The historic infrastructure investments in the bipartisan infrastructure deal would put food on my family's table for years to come. But President Biden's broader vision would go further. The Build Back Better Act addresses the rising cost of both child care and elder care, which would help ensure that both my young son, my daughters, and my aging parents are taken care of with dignity, grace, and understanding. My wife is going to school for nursing, but with 3 kids and both of us working, it's tough to find enough hours in the day. Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan gave us an expanded child tax credit, which helps us to cover the cost of 2 weeks of child care every single month. This has given my wife the flexibility to devote more time to her studies. President Biden's Build Back Better Act would extend the child tax credit and invest more in child care, helping my family and families just like mine. With this help, my wife and others like her will be able to pursue their passion for helping others and fill a role in healthcare that our community desperately needs right now. My wife and I have talked about the possibility of having more children one day. But like millions of Americans, I only get paid for the days I lace my boots up and go to work.
Right.
I have 0 paid time off for the birth of a new child. But the paid family leave called for in the Build Back Better Act would give my wife and I the ability to plan for another child with less worrying about making ends meet. We would be able to focus on what truly matters, our family. And without further ado, it is my honor and my privilege to introduce to all of you the President of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
Good job, man. Hello, hello, hello. It's good to be home. Thank you all. Please be seated. I just want you to know we have a tradition in the Biden-Finnegan family. When you see a relative, you go see them first. These are my relatives in the front row here, I want you to know. And spent an awful lot of time across from St. Paul's Church at my Uncle Jack Finnegan's house. His daughters are here, and he taught up at the U. And I just want you to know that Amtrak is here. They can tell you that you should name half the line after me. I am the most railroad guy you're ever going to meet. 2,100,000 miles on Amtrak. Hear me now? Not a joke. What happened was, when you are a president or vice president, they keep meticulous mileage of when you fly an Air Force aircraft. And so about, I guess it was 7 years in to my tenure as vice president. And I used to always like to take Amtrak home on Friday. I tried to go home and see my mom, who was living with us at the time after my dad passed, and I'd try to get home. And the Secret Service are wonderful. They're the best in the world. They never liked me taking Amtrak because it stops too often and too many people can get on and you don't know. And but it turned out I was about number 3 in seniority on the road at the time. In terms of actual time on the road. And a lot of the folks in Amtrak became my family. Not a joke. I'd ride every day. I commuted every single day for 36 years as Vice President of the United States. After my wife and daughter were killed, I went home to see my family, never stopped.
These stories I love.
And,
I love these stories.
So
I see
Angelo Negri was
people in the chat are sort of like acting like I like these stories.
To me one day when they just had announced that I had flown 1 million some X number of miles on Air Force aircraft. And Ange comes up, and I'm getting in the car, and he goes, "Joey, baby, what are you?" And I thought the Secret Service was going to shoot him. I said, no, he's good. It's a true story. And he said, I don't
know what the hell he's talking about, but I love it.
Big deal. Whatever it was, 1,200,000 miles. Air Force. You know how many miles you did Amtrak? And I said, no, Ange, I don't have any idea, pal. He said, let me tell you, we were at the retirement dinner. And he said, we added it up. You averaged 100, I think it says 21 days a year. 121 days a year, 36 years, plus as vice president, boom, boom. You have traveled over 2 million miles, Joe. I don't hear any more about the Air Force. But in the Build Back Better plan, I got more money for...
At least every story isn't where people are supposedly coming to him and saying, sir.
Sir, I don't know. Shane, I want to thank you for that introduction. I really do. And Madam Mayor Page, you've done a great job, a great job. No, I really mean it. I'm a big fan. And when I got elected, this is God's truth, after I checked on what the margin was in the state of Delaware, I called up here. She'd won that year too. And I found out that I won every precinct in Scranton. And I looked up and said, Mom, I did it. I did it. Look, and it's great to be here. It's great to be here in Pennsylvania with a very close friend, become a close friend, and a great governor, Governor Wolf. It's good to see you. And Matt, thank you for the passport to let me back into the district. And it's interesting. I grew up not very far from Bobby, the senator, where he grew up. It was about a total of, if you add it up, I think it's about 6 blocks. And his dad and I were about 18 years apart, and we're 17 years apart. So it's like a continuum going down here. But I just want you to know, we went to the same schools, same parish, just a few years apart. Take a few years.
For all the cringiness of the stories, he just likes people and likes telling his stories about people he knows and has known and their background. Like, he actually knows people as friends, which is very different from Trump.
Buying penny candy and Hank's Hoagies on Woodlawn Street, watching movies of the Roosie on the weekend.
Hank's Hoagies.
And trying to reenact all they did. And when you watch those movies.
He used to get the meatball parmesan.
I was the only kid in my era that I was able to walk across the lackey on that pipe that was just above the thing. If you fell in the lackey, you were a lackey. You were in trouble. But
he and I blew up a toilet in the boys' middle school bathroom. We shut down the whole thing for 3 days.
Look, no matter how long you live here in Scranton, it's a place that climbs into your heart, and it never really leaves you. And that's the God's truth. You know, it's like that old saying goes: you can take the boy out of Scranton, but you can't take Scranton out of the boy. There's something special about it. And I believe that home is where your character is etched, and I really mean that. Some of you have heard me say this before. It's where your view of the world begins, and where you begin, and where it takes shape. And that happened to me in 2446 North Washington Avenue. We used to come back after 10:30 Mass at St. Paul's. St. Clair's wasn't built till I had moved. At St. Paul's, and my grandfather would hold court. And back in those days, all the men had breakfast in the kitchen. My mother was one of 5 children, 4 brothers. One was lost in World War II. And a guy who was the chief political reporter at the newspaper, Tommy Phillips, who lived the street behind us. He was a good friend of my grandfather's. And all the women would go in the dining room on the lace tablecloth and have tea, and the men would in fact have a big breakfast.
This story may not actually be going anywhere.
Boy, you could sort of wander around the table. You could never sit at the table. And so I used to every once in a while walk in and just sort of wander around. I'd stand by my grandpop, and I put my hand on his shoulder, and they'd talk, and they talked about everything from sports and politics.
Yeah, I would cut this story. Hey, by the way, new feature on Twitch. It tells me when someone has never chatted before. That's interesting. I want to welcome first time chat ever from BitW171. Kind of a cool feature. All right, very good.
Those of you who know me know it to be true, and you guys know it, is that no one in the world is more worthy than you, Joey, but everyone's your equal. Everybody's your equal. My mom would remind me, she'd say, Joey, this is a God's truth. Remember, you're defined by your courage, and you're redeemed by your loyalty.
Right.
You're defined by your courage, and you're redeemed by your loyalty. And my dad, when things got tough in Scranton after the war, when there wasn't any work, my dad did not work in the coal mines. My great-grandfather was a mining engineer. But my dad was in sales, and he worked for the Fowler Trucking Company. And things got slow in Scranton, so we moved. I remember the day he came. I think the longest walk a parent can make is up a short flight of stairs to tell their kid, you can't live here anymore. You can't, because dad doesn't have a job, or mom doesn't have a job. And my dad had moved from Wilmington, Delaware to Scranton when he was a junior in high school. He was called St. Thomas, not the prep, but it was called St. Thomas in those days.
Right.
And I remember him walking up into the bedroom and saying, honey, Dad's gonna have to move. It's gonna probably take about a year. I'll come home every single weekend. It's only 155 miles. I thought that was like 600 miles away. I'll come home every weekend, but and when I get enough, get enough money, I'm going to bring you and Mom and everyone down.
In all seriousness, as much as I love these stories, do you guys think afterwards anybody comes up to him and says, "Sir, let's cut some of the stories because they kind of meander"?
Move away, and I gained so much respect for my father as I got older, because I thought about how much it must have hurt him, and the pride it took it for him to walk into my grandfather's pantry and say, Ambrose, can can I leave Gene and the kids with you? I promise I'll make it up to you. But I'll be back every weekend, but I promise I'll make it up. That's a hard thing for a proud man or woman to do. But so many had to do it. And I remember when we moved down to Delaware, my dad would say, Joey, and all my friends know this, I'm literally this phrase, you've heard him say it I don't know how many times. Joey, a job's about a lot more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. And think about it. Think about what it is. It means a lot more than just whether you get a paycheck. It defines who you are in his mind. And I learned that at the kitchen table in Scranton, a place where you take care of one another. And as I said, my mother, I used to stutter badly when I was a kid. If Tommy Bell and Charlie Roth and all of my old friends were here at St. Paul's, you know, my nickname was Blackbird. It was bye-bye Blackbird. It wasn't meant as a compliment. And I wasn't very big, but you could beat me, but I'd hurt you. You think I'm kidding? I'm not. But you know, it's one of those things that
oh man,
I was fortunate because the people I was surrounded by, our neighbors in Scranton as well, that people stuck up for you, stuck up for one another. And my mother used to say, and I never quite understood, remember, Joey, look at me, Joey. You're a Biden. I'm like, I'm a DuPont or something, you know what I mean? I swear to God, you're a Biden. Nobody is better than you, and everybody's equal to you. Nobody. The point I'm making is, the truth is, Scranton isn't my home because of the memories it gave me. It's my home because of the values it gave me. So when I ran for president, I came back to Scranton.
Right.
I came back to Scranton. I started here in Scranton. And I resolved to bring Scranton values to bear, to make a fundamental shift in how our economy works for working people, to build the economy from the ground up and the middle out, not from the top down. I've never known a time when the middle class has done well, the wealthy haven't done very, very well. I've never known such a time. So I'm here today to talk about what's fundamentally at stake right now for the families and for our country. For most of the 20th century, we led the world by a significant margin because we invested in our people. We invested in ourselves, not only in our roads and our highways and our bridges, but on our people and our families. We didn't just build an interstate highway system, we built a highway to the sky, to outer space. We invested to win the space race, and we won. We're also among the first to provide access to free education beginning back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. We invested in our children. Does anybody think today, if we're making that decision for the first time, we'd say 12 years is enough in the 21st century? 12 years is enough? It's not. But back then they did, and it's the reason why we leapt ahead of the rest of the world. Not a joke. We became among the best educated countries in the world. But somewhere along the way, we stopped investing in ourselves. America is still the largest economy in the world. We still are the most productive workers in the world and most innovative minds, but we risk losing our edge as a nation. You know, our infrastructure used to be the best in the world, not a joke, the best in the world. Today, according to the World Economic Forum, we rank 13th in the world in terms of infrastructure. Our roads, bridges, highways, internet, the whole works. 13th in the world. We used to lead the world in educational achievement. Today, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development in Europe ranks America 35 out of 37 major companies when it comes to investing in early childhood education. And talk about an equalizer. The greatest equalizer in the world. Well, the great university has done studies the last 15 years. You give a kid, no matter what the kid's background, from a broken home, from a home where mom or dad didn't go to school or whatever, and you put them in school in third grade, you increase by 50% school, not daycare. You increase by 56% the chance that they'll complete 12 years of school and build confidence. What's education all about? It's about building confidence in a child. It's about giving them the tools to do something. We can't be competitive in the 21st century economy if we continue to slide the way we have. That's why I resolved that we have to once again build America from the bottom up and the middle out. Again, not the top down. And by the way, I'm a capitalist. I think if you can be a millionaire or a billionaire, fine. Just do your fair share. Just do your fair share. You know, trickle-down economics has always failed. It hadn't built this country. You know who built this country. Like the young man who just introduced me. Union people. People who, in fact, can make a decent, hard wage. Build the country. It's not hyperbole. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That's why I proposed 2 critical pieces of legislation that are being debated back in Washington. Now, there's some really smart national press with me today, and they have understandably believed that there's no possibility of my getting this done. This has been declared dead on arrival from the moment I introduced it.
Well, let's see.
But I think we're going to surprise them because I think people are beginning to figure out what's at stake. You know, when I use the phrase Build Back Better, it's being used internationally now. I got the G7, the largest countries in the world, to agree that we're going to have a Build Back Better world. And we're going to invest and we're going to build around the world the democracies and ability so the rest of the countries don't fall prey to those like the Belt and Road Initiative out of China and other initiatives where there's, I'll do something for you if you give me. If you give me. Folks, look, these bills are not about left versus right. Or about
Big thank you to Woe Jordy for gifting 10 subscriptions on Twitch. Appreciate that.
These bills are about competitiveness versus complacency. They're about expanding opportunity, not having opportunity denied. They're about leading the world and continue to let the world or let it pass us by. And by the way, they will not increase one single penny of the deficit. They are fully paid for. And all Wall Street points out they will grow employment by tens of thousands of people. Tens of thousands of people. 17 Nobel laureates spontaneously, Nobel laureates in the economy, sent me a letter 3 weeks ago saying we'll also reduce, not increase inflation. Here's what these initiatives are all about. First, the infrastructure bill. When I say infrastructure back home, people look like infrastructure. Tell me, what the hell are you talking about, Joe? They know infrastructure generically. But it's about rebuilding the arteries of our economy. That's what it's about. Across this country right now, there are 45,000 bridges, according to the Society of Engineers. 45,000. A significant portion that are ready to fall into the water or into the gap that they cover. There are 173 miles of roads in poor conditions that have to be built up, including more than 3,300 bridges and over 7,500 miles of highways here in the state of Pennsylvania that need to be repaired and built. Increase timing and commerce. We're going to put hardworking Americans on the job to bring our infrastructure up to speed. Good union jobs, not $7 an hour or $15 an hour, but prevailing wage, a wage you can raise your family on. You can look at your family with pride. Jobs that can't be outsourced. Jobs replacing lead water pipes like you have here in the Scranton area. Kids getting brain damage because of the ingestion of lead. Clean water all across America. We're going to replace every single lead pipe in the nation. Again, creating jobs, but doing more than that. Increasing the health and well-being of our children. 44,000 schools are in a position where they have lead pipes. You send your kid to the water fountain, you got to wonder about it. Jobs laying thousands of miles of transmission lines and building a modern energy grid. Folks, we're in a situation now where you see what's happening. I've flown all over this country since coming in. You realize more of our land has been burned to the ground in the West and the Northwest than the entire state of New Jersey. Every single square mile in New Jersey, more has been burned down this year in the West because of climate change.
It is crazy. 2021 United States, there are still lead pipes. There's still asbestos. There's places still Flint, that still don't have just like, oh yeah, you can just drink the water. It's wild.
We know that if we, in fact, allow people to be able to store, we have this incredible energy. I've visited one of the largest solar fields in America. It's in the Southwest. Guess what? You can transmit all that energy enough to really light up half of the state of Nevada. But guess what? How do you transmit it? What lines do you put it over? Do we have the capacity to do that? We have the engineering capacity, but do we have the will to do it? And imagine what that does. If you realize we had $90 billion in loss this calendar year because of natural disasters, $90 billion. Jobs, making sure there's a high-speed internet, affordable and available anywhere, everywhere in America, including for nearly 1 in 6 families who go without internet. You saw what's happened when we've had this COVID. Try teaching from home. How many people do you see out in McDonald's parking lots with their kids in their cars because they get access to the internet to be able to help the kid in school? What are we doing? This is the United States of America, damn it. What are we doing? And both these bills are going to help us meet the moment on the climate crisis in a way that creates good jobs, makes us more economically competitive. $66 billion in passenger rail and freight rail. Why I always talk about passenger rail, and particularly high-speed rail. Do you realize the Chinese are now building another high-speed rail line that will go up to 300 miles per hour?
China.
You said, what difference does that make, Biden? Well, guess what? If you can get in a train and go from here to Washington much faster than you can go in an automobile, you take a train.
Right.
You take the train. We will take literally millions of automobiles off the road, saving tens of millions of barrels of oil, dealing with cleaning up the air. This is not hyperbole, this is a fact. These are facts. Right now, when I went out to Silicon Valley, they showed we're in a situation where if you put solar panels on your roof, guess what? When the sun's not shining, you're in trouble. Except they have now battery technology. You can have batteries in your basement about the size of the width of this podium.
Right.
And about that thick.
I'm all set up with the solar panels now, but I don't have the battery. I'm just feeding the grid.
We have $39 billion to modernize American transit. I remember riding a trolley. I lived at the end of the line, as they say, in Greenwich. 3 blocks, the end of the line. Beyond the end of the line were the dump. But Maloney Field was on the right. And the Little League baseball field I played in was down the bottom of the hill. But the point is, it made it work. Most people live in cities. You know, the vast majority of people now, working people, live in cities. Their jobs are out of town, no longer in town. No longer in town. But 65% do not own an automobile. They live in a black or Hispanic neighborhood or a poor neighborhood.
Guys, I'm selling the power back to the grid. I'm not giving it away.
Look, more than $7 billion to build out the national network of electric vehicle charging stations. The way my grandpa got up here, my grandpa Biden, who died in Mercy Hospital of an aneurysm when he was 46 years old, 2 months before I was born in Mercy Hospital, he was with the American Oil Company. He was up here opening up gas stations in that's how he got here. This was 1942, late 42. Well, guess what? The same thing happens. We build these.
Just so people know, because I see confusion in the chat. I don't pay for electricity because it doesn't matter that I'm using it at a different time than it's sunny. All the time that it's sunny, I'm selling. I'm dumping electricity back to the grid and getting paid for it. And then I use electricity at night, but it cancels out and I end up with a credit. It ends up being like, I don't know how much.
Get the same salary that you paid the mine worker to dig the well. They've got to be capped. We have thousands of them need to be capped. In addition to that, we have methane leaks that are all over, and you understand in Pennsylvania about that. But guess what? It increases the health of the community, provides good paying jobs. My plan also makes historic investment in clean energy, including a tax credit for people to do things like winterize their homes, install solar panels, develop clean energy.
Okay, people are saying I'm pretending not to. It's somewhere between 40 and 50 negative. My electric expense is roughly minus $50 a month, something like that.
Going to see it.
Varies.
They're not, in fact, generating any energy from the homes here in Scranton other than renewable energy. Not a joke. And by the way, one of the things the president put me in charge of, I want to be clear here, President Obama put me in charge of when I was vice president. I was able to invest in that legislation that I put together. We brought down the price of solar and wind cheaper than coal and cheaper than oil on a BTU basis. It's cheaper.
Right, but
coal built this town in this part of the country. But we got to provide other avenues for people to make the same kind of living they used to be able to make. Look, all told, I just said this project is going to save literally hundreds of millions of barrels of oil annually. But folks here in Pennsylvania know the cost of inaction when it comes to climate change. Extreme weather has cost this state $10 billion over the last decade. And nationally, as I said, extreme weather conditions cost $99 billion last year. And I flew over all this territory in helicopter in Marine One. Not a joke. See it.
Not a joke.
Reservoirs that are down 60, 80 feet. Concerned about the Colorado River, whether or not we're going to be able to keep things moving. Not a joke. It's real. This is serious stuff. And so, it's not going to ease up on its own. We have to invest in our resilience. Building roads higher. When I say build back better, we're the only country in the world, historically, that's gone through a crisis and has come out at the other end better than before the crisis hit. That's who we are as Americans. Not a joke. Think about it. From those of you who teach history, think about it. We come out better than it was before because we don't give up. We invest. We trust our instincts. And so that's what I'm talking about. We need stronger levees, stronger power grids, more durable, able to withstand ever-increasing ferocity, intensity of extreme weather. Any road, it used to be you have a catastrophe and the road gets washed out, you build it back to what it was before. You can't build it back to the same standard. You've got to build the road back literally higher. Not a joke, because the weather has already changed. And if we don't do something before we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius, we're in trouble. Look, we haven't passed a major infrastructure bill for decades in this country. Last 4 years, you hear every month is, infrastructure month. Didn't do a single damn thing. Nothing. I mean, nothing for 4 years. We can't afford to sit while other countries pass us by. We're going to breathe new life into the economy and our workforce. And here's the deal. These jobs we're going to create for people who are too often left out and left behind. The vast majority of the jobs in my infrastructure bill don't require a 4-year degree. 98% don't require a 4-year degree.
Right.
Guess what, though? It's the ultimate blue-collar, middle-class renewal. Real serious work. It needs to get done. But folks, it isn't enough just to invest in our physical infrastructure. We also have to invest in our people, which we always did. We invested in our people. That's why the second bill is the so-called Build Back Better plan.
So-called.
And here's what it does. It takes education. As I said, when America made 12 years of public education standard a century ago, it gave us the best educated, best prepared workforce in the world. And you saw what happened. Think of what happened after World War I and how America moved. Because we were the best educated overall country in the world. And we led in the 20th century. But as I said earlier, we know that 12 years is not enough any longer to compete in the 21st century. Study after study shows that earlier our children began to learn, the better for themselves, their families, and for the nation. You all know the statistics, and some of your teachers and your husband used to talk to me about this, and it was really basic, that if you come from a home where the mom or dad have books on the shelves and on the coffee table and read, and you come from a home where mom or dad can't read or has a 6th grade education or has a little difficulty,
right,
The child coming from the middle-class home is going to have heard 1 million more words spoken, not different words, spoken, than the child coming from a middle-class home. And that's because, look, what do you
The problem is some kids are hearing words that don't make any sense.
Cephahide.
They're the people who sit at the dinner table and still talk. They're engaged. So many homes. Mothers or fathers don't have the capacity or inclination to do that. But right now, what are we doing? We're lagging behind. Today, only about half of the 3- and 4-year-olds in America are enrolled in early education at all.
That's crazy.
Germany, France, the UK, Latvia.
It's like, what are they doing?
Their number is over 90% of the children. It's not just early education. According to one study, we rank 12th among advanced economies when it comes to percentage of our young people who've attained any sort of post-high school degree. Rank 12th in the world. The Build Back Better plan gets us back on track. We'll make 2 years of high-quality preschool available to every child in America. Every child. And we're going to make investments in education beyond high school. That includes increasing Pell Grants, which nearly 200,000 students in Pennsylvania from low-income families rely on to attend college. We're going to increase it by $500 up to so it becomes $1,900. The bill invests in our workforce, providing much-needed breathing room for families. I remember when we moved to Wilmington, we finally were able, after 4 years, Dad could buy a house. And we lived in a quoted development. It was a lovely area, in a suburban area, but it was a 3-bedroom split-level home. And we had 4 kids and my grandpa.
Someone just got banned for homophobia about Boot Edge over on Twitch. Getting ugly today.
And my bed was up at my headboard. It didn't have a headboard, but my bed was up against the wall that was on my dad and mom's bed was up against the wall. And I look back, it was great for us having grandpops and relatives there. I don't know how my parents quite did it, but I remember one night, I'm serious, it was in high school. And Dad, I could feel my dad was restless. He'd move, and I could hear it in bed.
You guys starting to hear louder and louder, either like geese or screaming in the background?
He said he got bad news, honey. His company just said they're no longer going to pay for health insurance. Well, guess what? My dad used to say everybody's entitled. All we're looking for is just a little breathing room. Just a little bit of extra room. A little breathing room. How can we compete in a world of millions of American parents, especially moms, can't join the workforce because they can't afford the cost of child care or elder care, or they have to stay home? I heard my colleagues speaking before I did. Here in Pennsylvania, the average annual cost of child care for your toddler is $11,400. It's higher in other places. So average 2-parent family with 2 young kids spends 22% of their income for child care every year. I was a single dad for 5 years. I got elected to the Senate. I got a phone call before I got sworn in when I was hiring staff saying my wife and daughter had just been killed. And my 2 boys were seriously injured. They were hospitalized for a long time. So that's why I eventually started commuting. But I continued to commute because I could no more afford. And I was making a lot of money then. Now, granted, I was listed for 36 years as the poorest man in Congress, but I was making $42,000 a year. I didn't think my job was to make money when I was in Congress. But this is not a joke. I could no more afford child care than fly, but fortunately, I had a hell of a family. Those values I talked about. My sister and her husband, after a little bit, they gave up their home. I came home one night, and they moved into my home, helped me raise my kids. 5 years later, no man deserves 1 great love, let alone 2. 5 years later, when I met and married Jill, I came home after the wedding, they'd moved out. My brother, Jimmy, my best friend, my mother, they all helped me take care of my kids. But I couldn't have done it. So I understand, how in God's name do people make it?
I think he could certainly benefit from tightening up these speeches a bit. I like the stories. I would condense the stories and really interweave them with the more substantive stuff.
It's an average of $14,000 per year in child state-sponsored child toddler care. America invests $500, 28 times less than our competitors. Here's what it does to our economy. You all know it. 30 years ago, we ranked seventh in the world among advanced economies in the share of women in the workforce. Today, in America, we rank 23rd. And women are becoming, not joke, better educated than men. If you look at, and I do about 5 college commencements a year, 4 of those 5, the valedictorian out of those classes for the last 10 years has been a woman. And if you read the data now, we're worried about the number of men attending college. Once again, our competitors are investing. We're standing still. My Build Back Better plan is designed to get us moving again. Look, it's going to cut the cost of child care for most Pennsylvania families in half. No middle-income family will pay more than 7% of their income on child care under my proposal. 7%. It's going to help more people get back to work in the workforce and make ends meet. It's also going to extend the historic middle-class tax cut for parents. Everybody talks about, and by the way, I'm going to say something self-serving, but I got on pretty well in the Senate for all those years. A lot of Republican friends as well as Democratic friends, for real. Kind of like Bobby. I mean, they're friends. We used to travel together a lot. And here's the deal, though. You know, what I was able to do when we passed the American Rescue Plan in the first month of my administration, which has allowed us to have all the funding for COVID. And when I started off, there were 2 million people in America that had gotten a vaccine. Well, guess what? We're up to 190 million. That's how we got it paid for. But here's the deal. What it meant was that, you know, right now, there's a whole new attitude that's out there. How do we not invest? So in that act that we passed, we provided for a child tax credit. And you heard my introducer speak to it. Because we're in such dire straits, we were able to put in a position a tax cut for middle-class people. That's what it is. No one has a tax cut when we want to cut the capital gains tax for the wealthy or anybody. No one has a problem when we deal with that. We have over 55 corporations in America, the Fortune 500, don't pay a single solitary penny in taxes. Not 1 cent. Not 1 cent. They make $40 billion a year. But when you talk about a tax cut for middle-class people, and that's exactly what it is. By what we did, increasing or making a refundable tax cut, you know, the way it works now, if you're made enough money to owe more than $4,000 in taxes and you had 2 kids, you got to deduct it. And here's the deal. The fact of the matter is that if you didn't make that kind of money, you didn't get the benefit at all. It wasn't refundable. You didn't get the benefit at all of the tax cut. Because if you didn't have more than $4,000 in taxes, you didn't, you know, you still paid. And it wasn't refundable. You didn't get it back. Well, here's the way we work it. We said, all right, for temporarily what we're going to do is make sure there's a child care tax credit. If you had 1 kid under 7, you get $3,600 a year. And if you have 1 over 7 to 17, you get $3,000 a year. We upped it from $2,000.
Many people noticing an unusually long speech from Joe Biden. He's now been speaking for, let's look at exactly how long it's been, right about 38 minutes. Very long speech for Joe Biden.
For ordinary people. That's what it does. I make no apologies for it. But look, folks, there's so many things that we can do to change the way in which we work all of this. And I realize I'm going on here, but the fact is there's so much at stake. So much at stake. Look, the fact is that most of all what it does is, you know, we have a sandwich generation that exists. And many of you are part of that generation. You have a mom or dad needs some help when they get older, and you have a child that needs some help if you're going to be able to be in the workforce. And it's hard as hell to make it work. You got to give these folks a little bit of breathing room. The single greatest champion for elder care in the United States of America is this guy right here, Bobby Casey. Not a joke. Not a joke. The way it works right now, if you qualify for Medicaid, you have to have a lower income to qualify for Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. There are 820,000 seniors, people with disabilities who are on Medicaid on a waiting list to get home care, which they're entitled to. How many families are living this story? Your parents get older, they need some help getting around the house, making the meals for themselves, don't want to put them in nursing homes, not only because of the cost, but because of a matter of dignity. They do better, they live longer if they can stay in their own home. But you also don't have the time or the money to take care of them at home to do it. So you're just looking for an answer so your parents can keep living independently. And if they hold here a second, one of the things that is important, think about this. In order to get into that nursing home, you got to sell everything you have. You can't have any private property. You have to empty your bank account. You have to do it all to move in a nursing home. I'm not saying nursing homes aren't valuable, they are. They're extremely valuable. But that's not where I remember my uncle was moved in with his wife into a assisted living center, and the folks who had built the facility, it was a lovely facility in Delaware, asked if I'd come and speak on the opening of it. And we're walking out and I said, "Mom, isn't this beautiful?" She looked at me and said, and she was then 76 years old, she said, "This is for old people, Joey. Not for me." But think about it.
The nursing home issue is tough.
Families, this is the most important issue they're facing. It's personal. It's personal. And Bob Casey gets it. When Bobby fights for something, he never gives up, in case you haven't noticed. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to expand services for seniors so families can get help with well-trained, well-paid professionals to help them take care of their parents at home, to cook a meal for them, to get them their groceries when they need to get groceries, to help them get around, to just put in railings on their home. My mom lived with me. She moved in with me. We finally talked her into doing it. And guess what? My sister takes her up. You remember this. Jeannie remembers this, talking about this too. She takes her up to get her prescriptions, drives her back, gets out of the house, and it was this little home off of our home. She wouldn't physically move into the house, even though we had done the whole thing over for her. And she's just standing there and moves and breaks her hip. She didn't trip or anything. Broke her hip. Well, guess what? Just having a railing, just having a place where she could walk from one room to the other, and help them in their own home with the dignity they deserve. Quite frankly, what we found is that this is more popular than anything else I'm proposing. When you do this individual polling data, this is extremely popular because we all feel that obligation to our parents, and we want them to live with dignity. Look, because American people understand the need. It's a matter of dignity, it's a matter of pride. Look, that's what both these initiatives are all about. And frankly, they're about more than giving working families a break. They're about positioning our country to compete in the long haul. Economists left, right, and center agree. Earlier this year, the Wall Street outfit Moody's projected that the investments I'm talking about will create, for the next 20 years, on average, 2 million additional jobs per year. Good paying jobs. It's transformative. And we can make these transformation investments and be fiscally responsible. Take the infrastructure bill. All those investments, road, bridges, high-speed rail, internet, the whole deal, they represent less than 0.5% of our economic growth each year. Less than 0.5%. And the cost of the Build Back Better bill in terms of adding to the deficit is zero. Zero. Zero.
Not a joke.
Because we're going to pay for it all. In addition to that, half of it is a tax cut. It's not spending money, it's a tax cut for working class people. And it's about time, as I said, and I come from the corporate state of the world. Not a joke. More corporations are are registered in my state than every other state in the United States combined. And I represented the state of DuPont, as they used to call it, for 36 years. I'm not anti-business, but I'm about just pay your fair share. Look, folks, under this proposal, and under these proposals I'm talking about, I guarantee you that no one making under $400,000 a year will see one single penny in tax go up. Not one. In fact, the plan cuts taxes for working people. And by the way, if you notice the way you usually pay for infrastructure is by gasoline taxes, I wouldn't allow that because that would tax people making under $400,000. I'm a man of my word. Not one single penny will you pay if you make less than $400,000. So, but there's no reason why someone making $400 million a year. By the way, during this all the crisis we've had with COVID, there's an absolute finite number of billionaires they can count up in the tax code. You know how much money the billionaires made last year collectively? They're not bad guys. I'm not saying that. They made $1 trillion.
Not a joke.
Increase their collective income. $1 trillion. Just pay your fair share. If you are a multimillionaire or billionaire, you have a lower tax rate than a family that has a teacher and a firefighter as a percent of taxes you pay. Lower. As I said, 55 our largest corporations pay zero in income tax, $40 billion. This needs to change. Working folks understand that. That's why, despite the attacks of misinformation about my plans, are still overwhelmingly supported by the American people. They understand that when families have a little breathing room, America's in a better spot. And they know this is about dignity and respect, about building an economy from the bottom up and the middle out, not from the top down. As I said, name me a time in American history when the middle class has done well, the wealthy haven't done very well. Name me a time. So let me close with this. For too long, working people of this nation, the middle class of this country, the backbone of the country, have been dealt out. It's time to deal them back in. I ran for president saying it was time to rebuild the backbone of the nation. And by that, I was very precise. The middle class has been the backbone of this nation. I couldn't have been any clearer. That's why I wrote both these bills in the first place and took them to the people. I campaigned on them. The American people spoke. They have no doubt about what I ran on. Both these bills were all what I talked about. But guess what? 81 million people voted for me. More people voted than any time in American history. And
Scrumps would dispute that.
To be heard, not to be denied, or worse, be ignored. Because here's what I know. If we make the investments, there's going to be no stopping America in the remainder of the 21st century. I've long said, and I mean this to every world leader I've known, and I've now spoken to over 60 of them. And I've known them, many of them before that. I tell them, it's never, ever, ever been a good bet to bet against America. No, never. Never, never. Which means it's always a good bet to bet on America. That's what these initiatives do. They bet on America. It's about believing in the American people. About believing. Just look at the history of the journey of this nation. What becomes clear is this. Given half a chance, the American people have never, ever, 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 ever let the country down. Just a fighting chance. No guarantees, just a chance. And that's what this is all about. And it does not increase the debt. When you talk about the number, we shouldn't even talk about the numbers because it's all paid for, written in the same piece of legislation. So you pass the spending, you're also passing the tax cuts, and you're passing the taxes that are going to be increased. Scranton, thanks for always treating me so nicely. I really mean it. God bless you all. And may God protect our troops. Thank you.
There he is, President Joe Biden. You know, a lot of stories, but the stories very notably were missing something.
Sir, you're on the cover of Time Magazine.
I don't even know what I'm doing, sir. Sir,
Well, sir, you can't ask. Sir, your wife is up in the air.
I don't even know what I'm doing, sir. He's better
Sir,
than
you
I
can't
am.
ask that
Mr.
question.
President, sir.
Mr. President, sir.
Okay, anyway. So tomorrow night, there is a Joe Biden town hall on CNN. Here's my plan. You know that we've gone back and forth with these. Sometimes we do run into elements of copyright problems with those. Here's the plan. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. We're going to do a pre-show on YouTube, Twitch, as well as Facebook. Okay, 7:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Moments before 8 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to pinch off the Twitch stream and Facebook and only go on YouTube, where we believe we have a better chance at getting through the entire stream. So that's going to be the plan tomorrow. And I hope that you will join me. And it's going to be great. All right. So thanks to everybody who signed up, Twitch subscriptions, etc. Tomorrow, we're going to try to get to 1,000 Twitch subscribers. It's going to be a big uphill battle, but we're going to try. So let's do it. Okay. We'll see everybody tomorrow.